Black Waitress serves Keanu Reeves and finds a heartfelt note on the check that leaves her in tears. It was one of those particular autumn evenings when the city seemed to hum at its best, where whispers of jazz flowed from open doorways, mixed with the pungent smell of Cajun spices wafting through the streets. At the heart of this lively French Quarter was the Magnolia, a charming restaurant known for its soul food and hospitable atmosphere. Amara Johnson, 27, sparkled with the gleam of a bright smile and big dreams while she had just started her shift. With her apron tied neatly at her waist and her notepad in hand, she moved through the restaurant with grace, greeting diners warmly. For Amara, this wasn't just serving tables, it was her saving up for nursing school and meeting fascinating people from all walks of life. That night, a ripple of curiosity stirred the employees as a new reservation cropped up a table for one under the name KC. The hostess, Lila, mused aloud, "I wonder who that could be." Amara shrugged with a grin. "Whoever that is, they'll get our signature Southern hospitality, just like everyone else." Sharp at 6 p.m., the mystery guest strode in, a tall man clad in a black jacket and jeans, oozing quiet class. His shoulder-length hair framed a face well known, and it took Amara just a moment to recognize him. Keanu Reeves. Her heart skipped a beat. Celebrities sometimes stopped by the Magnolia, but having an icon from Hollywood, such as Keanu, was a rare treat. Amara recomposed herself, her determination to be professional getting the better of her. With a warm smile, she greeted him. "Good evening. Welcome to the Magnolia. My name is Amara, and I'll be your server tonight." Keanu returned her smile with an easy charm. "Thank you, Amara. It's a pleasure to be here." She led him to a quiet corner table offering the menu. "May I start you off with something to drink?" "I'll trust your recommendation," he replied. "Well, our house sweet tea is a favorite." "Sweet tea it is," he agreed. As whispers spread among the other diners, some discreetly snapped photos, but Keanu seemed unfazed, enjoying the low-key atmosphere. When Amara returned with his drink, he ordered the gumbo, a Magnolia specialty. Throughout the evening, Amara checked in, ensuring everything was perfect. They exchanged light conversation. Keanu mentioned he was passing through town and had heard wonderful things about the restaurant. "You'll love New Orleans," Amara said with enthusiasm. "The music, the culture, the people, there's no place quite like it." As the conversation between them had flown, the initial nervousness of Amara disappeared. The humble and approachable way Keanu carried himself made him less of a Hollywood star and more of just another guest at the Magnolia, soaking in the city's charm. As Keanu finished his meal, Amara came over with the check. "No rush at all," she said warmly, laying it discreetly on the table. He smiled, thanked her, and pulled out his wallet. As he completed the receipt, he paused, pen hovering thoughtfully, before writing something extra. Folding the paper up neatly, he stood and turned to her. "Thank you for a wonderful meal, and even better company, Amara," he said sincerely. "The pleasure was all mine." She beamed with a smile. "Enjoy the rest of your stay in our city." He gave a small wave and slipped out quietly without garnering any further attention. Once the table was cleared, Amara picked up the receipt, expecting to see the total and perhaps a polite tip. Her breath caught as she unfolded it. A $500 tip on a $50 bill. Her hand flew to her mouth, but it wasn't just the tip that left her speechless. It was the note beneath it. "Amara, your kindness and warmth made my evening truly special. In a world where we often focus on our differences, it's people like you who remind me of our shared humanity. Thank you for being you. KR." Tears welled in her eyes. Life had become a marathon of double shifts, sleepless nights, and taking care of her younger brother since her mother's illness. This act of kindness was well appreciated at a time when she most needed it. Lila did notice that she was still standing with one tear rolling down her cheek. "Amara, what's wrong?" Amara handed over the receipt to her with an inability to say anything. Lila gasped. "Oh my God, Amara, that's incredible!" News spread like wildfire within the staff. Marcus, the head chef, emerged from the kitchen, wiping his hands on his apron. "What's the excitement for?" Amara showed him the receipt. A low whistle escaped his lips. "Well, if this doesn't restore your faith in humanity, I don't know what will." Customers started catching the bug, wondering what was up. Amara, always modest, said little. "Just a kind gesture from a kind soul," she said simply. When her shift ended, Amara sat quietly for a moment, holding the note. Keanu's words about kindness, connection, shared humanity echoed in her brain. The tip would help with tuition, but the message touched her heart in ways money never could. Carefully folding the receipt, she slipped it into her pocket, promising herself that she would keep it close. Stepping out into the cool night, New Orleans wrapped itself around her with an energy vibrant. She strolled through the streets, taking the long way home to mull over everything in her mind as jazz filled the air. Passing by a small park, she almost immediately glimpsed an elderly man fumbling with his grocery bags. She didn't need a second to reach him. "Need a hand?" she asked, her voice warm. He looked up, startled, then smiled. "Thank you, dear. These old arms aren't what they used to be." Amara smiled back as she helped him. Keanu's note wasn't just an act of kindness. It had sparked something in her, a reminder of the difference small gestures could make in someone's life. And tonight, she decided to pass it on. She took a few of the bags from the elderly man, and together they strolled toward his nearby apartment building. As they walked, they chatted about the city, its history, and the changes they'd witnessed over the years. When they reached his door, he turned to her with a warm smile. "You're a kind soul," he said. "The world needs more people like you." Amara felt a familiar sense of gratitude and replied, "I'm just passing on the kindness shown to me." As she continued her journey home, she reflected on how small acts of kindness could ripple through the lives of others. Her encounter with Keanu had inspired her to be more mindful of the moments where she could make a difference. The next day, Amara visited her mother at the care facility in which she was recovering from surgery, bringing with her a bouquet of flowers her mother loved. The colors were bright and went well with the sun streaming through the window. "Hi, Mama," she said softly, placing the flowers on the bedside table. Her mother smiled brightly. "Amara, what a lovely surprise." They spent the afternoon talking and laughing. Amara told stories about work, glossing over the details about Keanu but getting the sense of the experience across. "I met someone who reminded me that, despite our differences, kindness is a universal language," she said reflectively. Her mother reached over and squeezed her hand. "That's a beautiful lesson, sweetheart. Always hold on to that." The weeks that followed, Amara carried that lesson with her. Although her routine remained the same, prepping at the Magnolia, saving for school, supporting her family, something inside of her had shifted. She navigated difficult customers with more patience, allowed others to have valuable time with her, and made time for people. One evening, a young man entered the restaurant. He was disheveled and nervous and immediately caught Amara's eye. He sat down at one of her tables, nervously fidgeting with the menu. Approaching him with her characteristic warmth, she asked, "What can I get you started with tonight?" He hesitated before mumbling his reply. "Just water, please." Amara nodded delicately. "Take your time. Let me know if you have any questions about the menu." As the night grew busier, she noticed he hadn't ordered anything beyond water. During a quiet moment, she returned to his table. "Is everything all right?" she asked softly. He looked up, his tired eyes locking with hers. "Honestly, I don't have any money. I came in because I didn't know where else to go." Amara weighed her next response. "Wait here for a minute." She disappeared into the kitchen and spoke with Marcus in hushed tones. They fixed up a hot meal together, and Amara took it out to the young man. "This is on the house," she said with a kind smile. "Everyone deserves a good meal." He stared down at the plate, welling up in tears. "I can't accept this," he whispered. "Please," she insisted with a gentle smile. "It's our pleasure." Choked with emotion, he nodded. "Thank you. Truly." Later, as he was leaving that evening, he went over to Amara. "You didn't have to do that," he said, his voice shaking with emotion. "But you did." I won't ever forget that. She smiled warmly. Just pay it forward when you can. Weeks went by, then months, and life just moved on. One afternoon, Amara received a letter in the mail. Her hands shook as she opened it, and her heart leaped because it was an acceptance letter to the nursing program she had worked so hard to get into. She was overjoyed and shared her news with her family and friends at Magnolia, who celebrated with her. A seed of compassion had been instilled in her heart, one that Keanu had planted, and now, as she moved closer toward her dream, she knew she would carry the kind soul with her into her future. "We need to celebrate," Lila exclaimed, embracing Amara tightly. Marcus grinned and nodded in agreement. "Dinner's on me tonight. Our girl is going to be a nurse." By that evening, the Magnolia was transformed into something more reminiscent of a family gathering than a restaurant. The room seemed to hum with that warm, cuddly feeling as stories flowed and laughter was heard throughout. There was pride and joy oozing from everyone present. Amara stood, her heart swelling with gratitude as she raised her glass. "I just want to thank all of you," she began, her voice steady but emotional. "You've been my second family. Your love and support have carried me through, and I couldn't have done this without you." Her eyes traveled the room, stopping at every familiar face before falling upon an empty chair in the corner of the room, the seat Keanu once occupied. She smiled, thinking about how such a selfless act managed to renew her faith in humanity. "Here's to good deeds," she said, raising her glass even higher. "May we all continue to spread that around." The room erupted in cheers as the voices echoed this heartfelt sentiment. As Amara began her journey through nursing school, the issues flew at her left and right. Long nights studying meshed into early mornings, and fatigue often reared its ugly head, but she never let her determination falter. Every hurdle reminded her of why she was pursuing this path and how compassion would guide her to work with others. One afternoon, when she was studying in a cafe around campus, a voice so familiar interrupted her concentration. Looking up, she saw no other than Keanu Reeves at the counter, placing his order. Her breath caught as she debated whether to approach him, but before she could decide, his eyes scanned the room and landed on hers. Recognition lit up his face, followed by a warm smile. "Amara, right?" he said, approaching her table. She stood, returning the smile. "Yes, nice to see you again." "Mind if I join you?" he asked. "Of course," she said, waving towards the seat across from her. She talked with him a while about her nursing school, that it was finally taking shape, about her dream. "That's amazing," Keanu said, seeming genuinely interested. "I knew you'd do something great." Her voice broke slightly as she spoke. "Your words that night meant more to me than you could ever know." He shrugged in a very modest way. "Sometimes, all it takes is a little encouragement." Their conversation came easily until he checked his watch. "I've got an appointment I can't miss, but it was great seeing you again." "You too," she said warmly. "Take care." And as he disappeared into the crowd, Amara felt a deeper sense of closure. It was a sign that sometimes the world was big, yet small, and all the ways in which people connected. In a world often filled with challenges and division, stories like Amara's remind us of the power of kindness and the connections that bind us all. How will you make someone's day a little brighter today? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.